everybody, it's Rory from A&S Gear, and we're going to look at the 20-inch M4 sniper barrel today. So this barrel is for the Tippmann Arms Airsoft M4, the Airsoft Carbine. We'll do a how to put it in video and what you would need potentially while you're putting it in, or if you ruined some parts while you're putting it in, what you might need to replace. So I have just a stock M4 Carbine out of the box. Nothing's been done to it. We're going to take it apart real quick. It's not that hard. A couple of things you need to do. Obviously, if you're ever going to do something like this, give yourself plenty of time, plenty of space, and don't try to rush through it. So, and make sure it's degassed, that there's no gas in the gun, because we don't want to mess around with that while we're trying to fix anything or change anything. So this is the barrel right here. It comes in a long plastic tube like this. It has an insert in it like this. This is not an instruction manual. This just says be smart, be safe kind of a thing. Don't do stupid things. It's not a toy. Don't misuse it kind of thing. So if you want to have some sort of instruction manual on how to do it, you're going to need your original Tippmann Carbine manual. There is step-by-step instructions in there on how to disassemble and get the original outer barrel out of the gun. You will need something to knock the pins out if you can't push the pins out by hand, and the barrel nut tool, which comes in the box for the M4. I have an Allen key also here so I can get this front sight assembly off the gun, but that's all you're going to need it for. Obviously, gun is degassed. Magazine is going to come out. Set that off to the side. We're going to knock the pins out from the front and back of the receiver and separate the upper from the lower. Let's see if I can get this out of here. Shouldn't require much. Well, just a little tap should get them out. And then we can take that apart. Set this off to the side. Don't worry about the hammer back here. Usually it's not going to come out of there. We're not going to mess around with that part of the gun anyway. First thing we do want to do though is take our shroud off. So we're going to pull back on our collar and remove our halves. A little wiggle here and there. Get that out. There we go. So now we've got just our upper receiver with the upper receiver parts in it, our barrel nut or delta ring, which we're going to take off, the outer barrel, the inner barrel, and this front sight. The front sight can kind of stay as it is. We'll just need to remove these two screws to get it off. But the barrel nut, we're going to use our barrel nut tool. Get this out of the way. And if we pull the collar back, we can see that there's kind of like a star-shaped disc that's in there. That will hook up with the tool, and we will be able to take it off. And you're just going to rotate it kind of like that. Now once you get it to a certain point, you'll be able to do it by hand, and you won't need the tool. If you try to just do it with the tool, it can take forever. So try to get that going here. There's quite a lot of threading on it, so just be patient. All right, once we get to the end where this piece can come off, there's what they call a split washer underneath of it, and that's what holds everything, the outer barrel to the receiver. You want to make sure you don't lose that. So when you pull this apart, there's going to be two pieces that come off of there. Definitely don't want to lose those. And from this point, we can actually wiggle this and pull it out. Now sometimes the inner barrel will stay inside and it will come out with it. If not, you can just wiggle the inner barrel and pull it out. On the inner barrel, you've got the hop-up housing, which holds the hop-up attached to the barrel. And then we have our bucking right here, which is what the ball passes through to create the backspin, and also to keep it from, it's like a detent and something that creates backspin. So if when you put this in or out, you have scuffed, scratched, ripped, or any damaged this in any way, you'll definitely want to repair that. But that's really all that you can ruin per se when you're putting this together. There's an index on the the bucking housing right here. You want to make sure that you put this into the index slot on the barrel when you go to put it back together. Obviously this is backwards that I'm putting it in right now. I'm just showing you the index going into the outer barrel right there. So you can set that off to the side. We can pull our ring off. We're going to take our Allen key. We're going to take that screw. There's a little nut that comes out there. And take this one off too. If it doesn't easily pop out, you just push it out from the other side. And then on a new one, they'll be a little tight. So you kind of wiggle it and you can slide it off. And then that's it. That's our outer barrel right there. Only thing you would now have to remove is the flash hider and then put it onto your new barrel. So we're going to take this one now and we are going to put it in this way. I just have to look at that twice. You want to make sure that this ring right here faces the back of the barrel so that your handguard can fit in and lock into it properly. There's also two little grooves. Maybe you can see them. They're right here. They're two little like notches that are cut out. The screws are going to pass through those notches right there, and that's what's going to keep this from swiveling when it's on there. So the holes that are on the sight right here, we want to line up with those notches, and that's where they're going to sit. And then we want to make sure that it's vertical, but it's not off center. Everything looks good, so we'll go ahead and put our screws back in. And then also put our nut on there. And the nut does have a little flat spot on it, and so does the slot that these go into, so that they orient themselves properly and they tighten down. If they were just round, they'd just spin around inside there and they wouldn't actually ever grab a hold of the screw and tighten down. So with that flat spot cut out there, it actually gives them something to push against or rotate against and not rotate. All right, so we have our sight on there. We're going to go ahead and put our barrel in. Make sure we line up our tab properly, like that. Now we can take our delta ring, put it on there. Now we're going to put our split washer back on and go ahead and set that all together. The first thing we want to do is where the flat washer sits, we want to make sure that our delta ring is in front of that. We go ahead and set our flat washer in the grooves, like so, and then we want to bring the delta ring back so that it holds those washers in place. You can see the washers drop down inside of there. We can go ahead and put this on like so. We want to make sure that this is facing up, obviously. And then we can put that in like that, and then we can tighten this down. Now, one thing you will want to remember when you put this all the way down and you tighten it up, you'll want to have a valley, and I'll show you what they mean by that, in the 12 o'clock position. So if we look at this star that we've tightened on here, you've got peaks and then you've got valleys. If we line up one of the valleys, so the low spot in the star at the 12 o'clock or the vertical position, the handguard will snap on easily. If we don't, if we have one of the peaks at the 12 o'clock position, then the handguard's going to be slightly off center. So we want to make sure that we line that up with a valley in the right spot. And it does say that in your manual, so make sure you are paying attention to that. There we go. And then we're going to start in the opposite pattern that we went from last time. We're going to start with our right side. And sometimes these can be a little tricky to get on, even on a new barrel or whatever, if we're doing any kind of change to it. Switch over to the left side here. You just kind of have to work with it. Make sure everything drops in the way it should. Just don't force it. If it feels like you're really having to smash it in there, then take it out and start again. Like I said, it can be a little tricky sometimes. There we go. Pull that back. Locked in. And then we can see that everything is in line. My rail right here is in line with my other rail. Everything is nice and vertical. My sight is vertical. Everything's in the right position. From there, we can kind of put those to the side. Move this over. Line up our receiver pins. Put it back together. Lock it down. And we're ready. Now we've got a 20-inch sniper barrel on there. The only thing I would recommend if you're going to run this longer outer barrel is to buy a new inner barrel as well. Because right now our outer, it was only this long before. So our inner barrel only comes to about here on the inside of our gun. And that's that silver piece that you saw. So what's going to happen now, there's a possibility for your inner barrel, as the BB exits your inner barrel, it has to travel through this much outer barrel before it actually exits the end of the gun. It is possible if your inner barrel is not lined up properly that the BB can skip off the out or the inside wall of your outer barrel, and that'll put all sorts of weird stuff, weird spins. It can shatter BBs. It just won't make things accurate. So you want to get a new inner barrel that runs closer to the end of your outer barrel to get the best possible performance out of it. Now, you don't have to. I would recommend it, but you don't have to do that. So if you're looking to make your gun look a little bit more trick with the sniper setup on here, get that extra long barrel, a 20-inch sniper barrel for your Tippmann M4 carbine. It's made by Tippmann. It's available through the website. Order yours now through ansgear.com.